Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Friday in the Lock Shop. What's going on, gang? Welcome to the program. Us and the happiest man, well, one of many actually in the GTA right now. Jake Bolin Moss with you. Dusty and the EST boys, I believe, are on the ice right now. Nielson will join us a little later on in the show. I'm not sure whether he's going to be in full equipment coming right off the ice or whether he'll clean it up beforehand. I'd say cleaning it up beforehand, minus 150, coming right off the ice, plus 130. Those are your Lock Shop odds for Dusty's appearance on the program. And the over-under on Dusty joining us is, I'm going to say 26 after the hour, 26:30, in fact. So start your clocks on that. We have a lot to get to. First off, there will be a Game 7. Leafs Boston. As you can see by that bleep-eating grin on my partner's face here, he's in good spirits. We've got some big games tonight in the National Hockey League for the remaining series that are still going on. A 6 o'clock Central start, so just after 5 p.m. out in Alberta, and 7 o'clock in the East, the Canucks and Predators go at it in Nashville on Broadway. And then a game I cannot wait to see. Vegas Golden Knights facing elimination at home, taking on the Dallas Stars. That one will get underway just past 9 p.m. We'll hit the lines for that, discuss the games. Two pretty close games and close lines. And then as far as the NBA goes, we've got a doubleheader tonight of big games. The Magic at home to the Cavs, and the Clippers and the Mavericks playing late. I think our focus is going to be more on the pucks right now. And listen, before we start getting into what's happening tonight, we got to get to what's last night. And what's going on last night is my guy JBM is still beaming. Maybe wearing shades because he was up till 6 a.m. partying downtown.
No.
Rest of Leafs Nation.
How
are you today? How are you today? How are you today?
Rest up. Game 7 tomorrow, folks. Game 7, back at the Garden. It's time to erase all the demons. 2013 demons, 2018, 2019. All the Game 7 demons, all the Boston Bruins demons can all be erased Saturday night. I am fired up. Sunglasses were just a touch. I don't need them. I'm feeling great today. I'm as energetic as I could have slept not at all, and I'd still be this energetic. So, yeah, I'm ready to roll, Huss. I put on my favorite Friday outfit, my Marner jersey, my Leafs hat, and the shades. Let's roll. Game 7.
It was listen, I'm going to say this, and I know there's a lot of people, like, I don't have any skin in the game. Obviously, like, we all can't stand the Leafs when they come into our buildings and the fans take over, or at least greatly change the normal mood in the building. And yes, they get a ton of media coverage that drives some people in the West crazy. But those were two of the gutsiest wins I've seen by a team that had everybody counted them out, including 99.9 of their own fans. To get it done the way they did in Game 5 in Boston and come back and play. Listen, I'll say they played well last night. There's another side to this. The Boston Bruins played like hot garbage last night. And you mentioned the demons. Like, the Leafs are synonymous with demons. But I got to tell you, going into that Game 7, I think there's going to be more talk about the demons on the Bruins side from recent history, blowing the 3-1 lead last year to the Florida Panthers, and now being on the verge of doing it in back-to-back years. There is a lot going on. But just thoughts on the game last night. And by the way, Barry Horowitz to both of us who believed in Willie Nylander yesterday, talked about him. And listen, in a tight game, goals are everything. He did it twice. And thank God they got that insurance one when Boston scored with 0.1 seconds left on the clock. That was nuts.
Yeah, the betting story behind that is if you had -1.5, I don't know how many people have taken Leafs -1.5, but that's a tough beat there. Thank God that Willie got the insurance and that goal really didn't matter at the end of the day. But Yeah, a little double dip from Nylander. I came on this program yesterday, and I said, it's a Willie Nylander game. It's time. And sure enough, he delivered. I said goal assist. I mean, he made it 2 goals. You can't be mad about that. I think he was, almost plus 150 for a goal last night. I think I had him on my own. I had him for a goal and a Leafs win. So, yeah, pretty happy camper. That's a little double happiness. You bet on the Leafs, and then you get the your heart is invested as well. My roommate was actually down at Scotiabank last night, and that had to be one of the better crowds we've seen in the past while. You know, we get a lot of flack for all the corporate that's down in the platinum seats, but they were loud from the jump. I think the Leafs kind of owned them in the first. In terms of shots wise, like the energy was there on both sides. Bruins couldn't get anything through to the net, and when they did get stuff through to the net, Joey Wool had the answer. So, you know, he's been a hell of a story in this series. Who knows what's going to happen with Matthews tomorrow night, but they've given themselves a chance, Huss. And to look at someone rolling in here now. I'm seeing. I know it's not coming up on the end for the folks, but I think we'll see Dusty here before long. Anyways, listen, Huss, I'm as fired up as can be. They have all the chance in the world to get this done. If they play like they did the last 2 games, I have a hard time believing they're not going to get it done. But anything can happen. It's Game 7, and I'm just excited we get to watch one Saturday night.
The collars are tight in Beantown right now. I think we saw with the way the Bruins played last night that they're starting to think about this. They knew their opportunity was there at home in game number 5. They didn't get it done. And now game 5 was OT, right? That was Nyes and OT?
Yep. Nice. Yep.
Dude, this is exactly what happened last year with the Panthers. The Panthers, remember Brad Marchand in game 5 was in all alone on that clear-cut breakaway with 5 seconds left in the game and didn't score. Bobrovsky saved it. And then overtime, game 6, game 7. I mean, the script is playing out exactly the same as last year. They just didn't win the President's Trophy. I was listening to Jim Montgomery after the game. He has gone from he's gone right to some tougher love, if you will. I mean, just a straight up quote: Pasta needs to step up. He is challenging his top players. Marchand's he's always impactful come playoffs, and he had a great start to the series. But they are wondering where this is going to come from. And, the Leafs, to their credit, it's kind of been the way that they've smothered Boston defensively. That has been what's so important. I mean, the thought of the Leafs winning these games with their backs against the wall without Austin Matthews, I think to most people, highly unlikely. And yet here they are right now. Like, we've talked about Nylander. Woll deserves a lot of credit. He's been very steady in net, despite getting robbed of his shutout last night. But I mean, from your perspective, I mean, who has stepped up? Who have been the guys that, might not be on the score sheet that have really sort of, raised their level of play and made it happen to get them in this position to move on?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, honestly, because there's a handful of guys that I'd love to point out. Jake McCabe has had 2 of his better games as a Leaf as of recent. He's been great all series, but these last 2 games, super noticeable, like shut down guy, can move the puck out of the zone, like can do it all for I think he's making $2 million a year right now. He's been unbelievable. Edmondson, when they brought him in, not a lot of talk about him, but the experience that he has, just how calm and relaxed he is on the back end. He always finishes his checks, and playing alongside a guy like Liljegren who can, he can move the puck a little better, a little more offensive ability there. He's very stay at home. He's very nice. He's a nice piece alongside of Liljegren there. So a couple D men that I like. Even not a lot of talk about Lyubushkin, as not that there usually is, but he had the breakout pass to Tavares on the game winner in Game 5. From when they traded for him, he was claimed as the worst defenseman in the NHL by some advanced scouting departments. I'd say he hasn't been that bad. So not too frustrated about that. Matthew Nyes is one of the guys that the last 2 games, it's like he's transformed from this young guy, makes an impact, but just can't find a way to make that major impact. he is everywhere. He's in every single scrum, scores the game winner in game 5. He's hitting everything in sight. He's he has played unbelievable. Last night and game 5, Matthew Nyes has been incredible. They're just finding ways to get it done. Even they put Gregor in last night, Noah Gregor, who no one wants to listen to me talk about a fourth-line guy here for 5 minutes, and I won't. They took Revo out, put Gregor in. He was a nice spark, ton of speed, great shot, and he was throwing the body around last night. So, I don't know. It just seems like, for whatever reason it is, Hassan, I don't know if it's the goalie or if it's just a wake-up call going down 3-1 and, Keith said, you're going to be remembered for however this series plays out. So you choose how you want that to look. They've played better in front of Joey Wold. They look more comfortable in front of him. For whatever reason, when he's in net, they just seem to have a little bit more jump and a little bit more, they just have a little bit more trust that he's going to make the saves they need him to make. And, eventually they're going to get on the score sheet. We saw Nylander really just a puck to the net, goes off McAvoy on that first goal. And then a couple of chances late when Boston's pushing, Domi actually had a breakaway just before Nylander did to try to seal it, but Nylander tucked it home and double dipping in an Elam game. I don't know if you follow Coach Chippy on Instagram, Huss, but he had a funny little reel today, double dipping in an Elam game. Not a big deal.
Hey, listen, he had to do it. I mean, they had no Austin Matthews. That's the other biggest story about this. And listen, for all the people that can't stand the Leafs or whatever, I will say this. I think regardless of the outcome in Game 7, I think Florida boat races either of these teams in the second round. But we're not in the second round yet. So you get your moment and you get the excitement. And hey, for hockey fans, we get Game 7 action tomorrow night on Hockey Night in Canada, which is a great thing considering how quickly, teams like the Jets bowed out and teams like the Edmonton Oilers moved on. So the potential for this was one of the greatest first rounds of all time. And it's kind of been anticlimactic for the most part. And we all thought this one was over, much like some of these other series. And now it's not. We'll get to the 2 Game 6s tonight to see whether we're going to get any seventh heaven coming up on Sunday of the weekend. But just a quick thought on, what's the word on Matthews? He's missed the last 2 games. He was ruled out very early. They've won the last 2. And obviously, are you better with Austin Matthews? Absolutely. I mean, this is a guy that's going to probably be top 5 in Selke voting. He'll be top 5 in Hart voting. He scored more goals than everybody else. I mean, it's hard to make an argument, despite the fact that they've won the last 2 games, that the Leafs are somehow better without Matthews. And I certainly will not be the one to make that ridiculous argument. But I do wonder. Certainly they got the confidence they can win without him, Jake. But what are you hearing about Austin Matthews, or is it just complete cloak of silence? And we'll get an update at some point. But most Leaf fans are kind of assuming they're going to have to do it without 34.
Yeah, it's day by day, right? We don't get a ton of information. Keith, for whatever reason, him and Tree Living are we're keeping everything close to the vest this playoffs. I know Patty touched on it. I touched on it yesterday. We're just not hearing a whole lot. We see him go on the ice because, there's a ton of media there for pre-skates and morning skates, practices. But, he was on the ice, I believe, yesterday before morning skate. He only did 8 minutes of skating. He looked fine, but you really don't know what it is. Is it a concussion thing because he was pulled from game 4, third period, right? So someone had to say, okay, you're done. You can't be playing. So, is it a concussion-based thing? I don't know. I don't know. People are saying when McAvoy pulled him down, it was maybe his knee or something.
Yes, that was – I saw a breakdown of that. That did look a little awkward, the timing of it. And the guy that had posted that display then went back and looked at his shifts afterwards. And that sort of did seem like a moment. And that would make sense why he would be out trying to skate a little bit. It would make sense why they said this is like a doctor's decision, because he's like, hey, I want to go out and play on a torn ACL, MCL, whatever, trying to see what he can do. I would assume that he won't be there. But again, the team has put themselves in a position where they're 60 minutes away from moving on. And regardless of what the second round would look like, to pull this off against Boston would be the most significant way the Leafs could possibly get out of the first round. I think it probably buys a bunch of people some more time. I mean, that's the crazy thing about what's kind of on. I would listen to Merrick talk earlier today. What is at stake for both of these teams in Game 7? Like, let's talk about Boston for a minute. Montgomery comes in, has 2 incredible regular seasons. If they blow back-to-back 3-1 leads, you wonder, is he going to be kept in the mix and brought back? That's certainly up for debate. I think that the Boston team, because of the age and how long that core has been together while they brought in new guys, there's questions as to, how significant a player movement you get on that team. They still do have some holes that they really haven't filled since Bergeron in particular and Krejci have left. And then from the Leafs side, like if they lose, there's still a ton of speculation about does Sheldon Keefe come back? Say chances are better with what has happened now, the last little bit, as opposed to a week ago or 5 days ago, but still, there's still left to be done. And then the whole future of the core. Like, what did you think of Marner last night? What's the word on Marner throughout this series?
Yeah, he was fine. Nothing. I think he was a little bit better in Game 5 personally, but he does his job when that line can get going. They had one really memorable shift, the Marner, Domi, Bertuzzi line, and they're just cycling the puck, like looking for a good opportunity, getting pucks back to the point. Like when they get going, it's fun to watch. But Marner's biggest thing is getting the puck right now. He is still timid to go into those corners and take a hit to gain possession, and that's kind of what people are frustrated with, right? It's playoff hockey. You have to make hits. You have to take hits to make plays, and he's not built that way. And it's frustrating for people, right? Like watching him go into the corner and try to be the second guy and stick lift. Like it's not because when Matthews was playing, he's in the corners. He had 8 hits in game, 4. Like,
yeah,
he wasn't afraid to get in there and he's still unreal with his stick. But Marner's not built like Matthews either, and it's like it's one of those things where people are like, ship him out of town. I don't necessarily think the Leafs are better off without Mitch Marner, but there's definitely parts of his game that clearly still need some work. And it's like, how much longer are you going to wait for those parts to come? Because it's up to him, right? He has to decide whether he wants to make that commitment and get in the corner and, like I said, take a hit to make a play.
Yeah, he's going to be, he will be overwhelmed physically in some situations, and that's just physics. But I will say that, when you pay that much for players, you're expecting more than a good regular season. You got to show up, and you got to be a difference maker in the playoffs. And at times in the past, he has been that guy. It really hasn't seemed that way, although who knows, maybe Game 7. So Game 7 tomorrow night between Toronto and Boston. We'll have something to watch, which is nice. And, everyone's going to have a side to take on that one. I don't think there'll be a lot of neutral visitors. Just right now, just while we touched on it, because we're going to move on. The line right now for this game, Bruins minus 133, Leafs plus 113. Total for the game is 5.5. And the puck line, Boston's 2-1 to win by 2. Leafs minus 240. On the plus 1.5. But let's get to the games tonight. And ESTers, and those of you that are, if you're listening on the Edmonton live stream, you can text in. But those of you that are with us on YouTube, I would like to hear your thoughts on not necessarily this game tonight, but from an Oiler perspective, who would you rather face? Is it Vancouver with their goaltending issues and the injuries, or is it Nashville, a team that you've absolutely owned? One thing I'll say is I think Oiler fans are sleeping well right now, knowing that they've got it done in 5, and they're getting one of these 2 teams in the next round. What do you think about this one, Jake? Nashville, I still think back to, was it game 2 or game 3 where they had the lead, then they missed the empty net goal. They somehow lost both 3 and 4 on home ice. Hal Gill was on earlier this morning, and he said, there's a concerts downtown. You've been down to Nashville. The weekend
yeah.
in Nashville with a playoff game, Broadway is going to be so bananas. That crowd is going to be amazing. One of the best in the league, night in, night out in the regular season, never mind in the playoffs. Do you think Vancouver gets this thing done, or does Nashville even the series up and we get Game 7 on Sunday? Speaking of ghosts, with a lot surrounding the Vancouver Canucks, despite the amazing year that they've had.
I mean, the hockey fan in me says, let's get this thing to 7. I mean, ball's in Nashville's court now. I think it's going to be similar to the Toronto thing in terms of the home ice, where it's going to be loud on Broadway. It's going to be loud in that arena, and they just got to feed off of that. They have the goaltending to do it in Saros. They have some strong players, and they found ways. They found a way to win Game 5, and I want Nashville to win. I don't know if that means they're going to win, but I have no allegiance with the Vancouver Canucks. I want to see more Game 7, so I definitely ride with Nashville tonight. I think if I'm going to say this, I know we're going to get to the other game as well. If I got to pick from the two games, which team to force 7, I think Nashville, and I think you've talked about this, which team to extend the series. You said the same thing a couple days ago, but I think Nashville has the better chance of forcing 7 than Vegas does with the way Dallas has played in the last few games, especially down the stretch.
Yeah, well, I mean, both teams that are at home tonight are down. Listen, the Canuck line, Vancouver plus 112, Nashville minus 131. I do think, and get us your picks in the chat, folks. Just money line. Who you got tonight? Vancouver, Nashville. There's something about Rick Tocchet, his experience as a player, experience as a coach, the job that he's done this year in Vancouver, that does give me an element of confidence that the Canucks can get it done. But I also just think about the circumstances that they're in. Playing an American League goaltender, some players on their team, obviously not 100%. And then you've got the Predators, who have really, I would argue, are playing their best hockey, some of their best hockey of the year. I mean, not for a full 60 minutes, as we saw with the blown leads and what happened in those earlier games in the series. But Vancouver's had to make the most of their opportunities, because these have been some very, very low event games. They haven't been great to watch. I mean, you can go 5-6 minutes with one perimeter shot on net. I mean, as I said, not a lot of high event hockey at all. And Andrew Brunette, both of these guys, it is sort of funny. 2 of the 3 finalists for the Jack Adams facing each other tonight, and only one will get through to the second round. RIP to our guy Bones, who also got the nomination today with a great job with the Winnipeg Jets, and big questions as to whether he's going to be back next year for a number of reasons. But I mean, I think I'm going to roll with the Preds at minus 131. I think more than anything because I'm feeling Game 7 in this series. And then we'll get to the Dallas Stars and the Golden Knights coming up. Dusty's going to jump in just a minute. Lineup, well, let's quickly check out a couple of these props available. Goal scorers in the game. Philip Forsberg, plus 103. Huge gap. Brock Besser, plus 190. JT Miller, plus 195. Elias Pettersson, plus 225. And then Ryan O'Reilly, plus 240. I know Besser's been a goal-scoring machine in this series. To me, I could almost see doing the old put a unit on JT Miller and on Elias Pettersson, and if either one of those guys, you're going to be nicely ahead. Because to me, it's the big guys that have to get it done for Vancouver, and Elias has been not at his best, I would say. Not his most effective, and certainly not his most dangerous against Nashville, but a lot of the credit goes to what Nashville's doing defensively.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about it too. They get a couple power plays. Either one of those guys could pot one on the power play. You get Miller, like you said, at plus 195, Pettersson at plus 225. Those are some solid numbers for those players. Like you said, there hasn't been a ton of goals. There actually hasn't been a ton of shots for Vancouver, which is it's crazy they were up 3-1 in the series to begin with, like you mentioned off the top. The one number I was looking at, Huss, if you go over the player assists column, JT Miller minus 118 for an assist. I don't hate that at all. I think he has 3 or 4 in the playoffs so far through 5 games. I think he's the type of guy who, he can score, but he can absolutely set guys up. Gets a ton of points in the regular season. And, he was skating around practice. I don't know if you saw Sheloff's had the kind of like a Hawaiian shirt. And there was a lot of chatter in Canucks land about this shirt. So Miller wore it around practice yesterday. So they're keeping things light for Vancouver. I wouldn't be surprised if Miller has a nice little game. And I like his number, assists, minus 118 there.
Yeah, you know what? I think for both the assist or the goal, he really does seem to be, like, I know Quinn Hughes is the captain. JT Miller sort of seems like he's the heart and soul of the team, if that makes sense. And I think in a situation like this, he's the guy that they'll really be leaning on to raise his level of play. I think Dusty's going to come on in just a second, so maybe we'll just wait to get to this Dallas Stars Golden Knights game in a moment. While we do that, and before Dusty jumps on, just a quick aside back to the NBA from last night. Did you see that Knicks Sixers game?
I watched the end after the Leafs. Yep.
What a wild game. I mean, the amount, and just the series overall, incredible crowds, major intensity, and no lead is safe. Like the Knicks. So I had the Knicks. I needed the Knicks to win the game for that 6-1 parlay from the other 2 series we're in. We needed the Knicks to win. Well, Indiana won earlier in the day. The Knicks were up 24. This is up there for bad beats of the entire year. Like all-time bad beat. If you had Knicks first half money line, they were up, I believe, by 24 at one point. And Philly came back in the second quarter. It was crazy. And then the Knicks had a 9-point lead. Then it was tied. Then they were back up by 5 or 6 and anyways got the job done. So the Knicks move on, which made me very, very happy. And we do have 2 games tonight, as I mentioned, the Cavs and the Magic, and the Clippers and the Mavs. Mavs are huge favorites at home, minus 323 against the Kawhi-less Clippers. And the Magic are minus 164 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. We are getting actually game 1 of the Timberwolves and Nuggets coming up on Sunday. And the series number for that is Denver minus 189 and the T-Wolves plus 152. All right, let's get Dusty on here. Dusty, fire up. I think Dusty's muted right now because I can see him talking to others and coming back. All right, well, we hit the over on time of arrival to the lock shop. It was 26:30. The over cashes at 35. And it looks like he did clean up before coming on. And cleaning up was we can't hear you, no. Let's get Dusty in here right now. And folks, if you're listening on the live stream, fresh off.
There we go. Now you can hear me.
Fresh off the accident, Hockey Helps the Homeless.
What's up?
Dusty comes in. Well, not much. We put some lines on whether you would have been cleaned up afterwards or in full equipment, the timing and whatnot. We've all cashed our bets. How did it go out there for the EST squad?
Tough start for Team Brewhouse. Well, actually, it was a pretty good game. It was 8-6. We lost 8-6. Dale Weiss. Remember Dale Weiss?
Dale Weezy is a good buddy of mine.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, if you could fire him a text and tell him not to try so hard at the charity event, it'd probably be fine. So we ended up losing 8-6. He had 6 of their 8 goals. So we couldn't contain him. We had Laddie Smead. And then because we were like top fundraising team, we got a second guy. So Brian Scrudlin's with us as well. And Brian Scrudlin is hilarious in the dressing room. Like I didn't want to leave. He was just telling stories. And so we play again at 12:15. We're going to miss that one. But then Tommy and I are going to do Oil Stream, and then we're going to hop back on for the 4:15 game. So, but yeah, Dale Weiss absolutely lit us up. So, but good times. But now what's going on with Jake here? What's he have a headache? What is this?
No.
What is this?
No.
No.
The future is so bright. He has to wear shades.
Oh my God.
I couldn't believe it. People in the nasty chat too are giving it to me. They're like, he's got red eyes. Look at me. Look at me.
No, looking pretty
Fired
good.
up.
Looking pretty
go.
good.
Let's go. Hollywood.
I sit down and I look at you guys. I look at Matt here and I'm like, what is going on with Jake today?
You must have seen my tweets. I was teeing this up.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. Matthew was listening to the morning show today, and I'm always like, the hoodies at these events never fit me, but this one does. Like, they've got a good size hoodie today. I've played in, like, I don't know, in the last 15 years in this city, I've probably played in 25 charity hockey tournaments. I swear to God, not one hoodie has fit, but this one fits today. Now, with that being said, my jersey's another story. For some reason, I got the same size jersey as Tommy Gazzola. I had to pull it apart at the sides. My elbow pads don't even fit in the thing. I look like a bloody mess out there. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Oh, man. Hey, listen, we spent a lot of time letting Jake the victory lap. Not only the win, but the Nylander goal last night, of which I did support, if you will recall.
You did say you liked him to score yesterday. That's right.
Hey, that was the game. I mean, no Matthews. Time for him to step up. He did a lot of talking to the other guys. Shut the hell up. This isn't junior, whatever. He came up big last night. If you want to maybe quickly touch on Vancouver, Nashville, we sort of got over that game, but we've been saving Dallas, Vegas to get to it. But thoughts on this game 6 tonight with the Predators at home, minus 131 money line favorites against the Canucks.
Yeah, the
112.
It's good, you guys, because I made this the Coolbet hotline of the day today on the Nielson show. Nashville minus 131 on the money line, looking to make it 7 shows in a row with a winner after Jalen Brunson or after the Knicks were plus 3.5 last night. So I like. Look, man, Nashville. Those other 2 games they had at home, they deserved something better there. I think it's weird how boring this series has been. Like you look at it's like middle of the second period, shots are 7-6. The Canucks can't seem to really get going offensively, and I think that favors Nashville. Huss, you've been to that arena in Nashville. I haven't, but it looks like an absolute madhouse.
It is,
and I think they get it done at home tonight and force a game 7 on Sunday. So yeah, my favorite play across any board in any league tonight is Nashville. I mean, 131 is probably as far as I would ever take it on just a straight up sort of money line play. Probably like the under in that one as well. Like, go bet builder and take the money line and move that total to 6.5 or something and put a little parlay together on that. So I'm definitely in Nashville. Where were you guys on this one?
Yeah, I'm leading Nashville, and I'm thinking, is that more just because I really want game 7? I think Tocchet has toughened up his team, and I think that they will play well. But to your point, they just haven't got a lot going right now.
No.
I mean, we were looking at the goal props. The guy that I'm looking at, and we were talking about his goal prop at plus 195, his assist prop at minus 118 is JT Miller.
JT Miller. I was just going to guess it was JT Miller. Yeah,
he seems like the sort of the heart and soul of his team, and I think he's the guy that will really drive it. Elias is certainly due to do something. He's been very, very quiet. But I think the combination of the scenario, the momentum that the Preds have from getting this series back there, knowing the missed opportunities they had at home originally, I think we're going to get game 7. So I'm with you on the minus 131 tonight. And listen, under 5.5 is at minus 120. I don't mind the Canucks team total under 2.5 as well. Let me just see what that is. Minus 123 on the Canucks team total. Not sure what's a better bet on that, the under 5.5 or just go with under 2.5. Those overs, the totals on the unders can get screwed very quickly in situations like this with empty net goals.
Yeah, if Nashville's up early, you could get screwed.
If you think that Vancouver, if the Nashville's going to win and keep them to under 2, it's probably safer.
If you want to play the under tonight, it's probably safer to play the Canucks under the team total is basically what you're saying, right?
Yeah. If you think Nashville's winning, I mean, obviously the other way around. If you like Vancouver, I mean, highly doubtful that they're going to win scoring only 2 goals. But Dusty, we'll lead it off with you, though. Vegas, Dallas, the Stars down 2-0 after the first 2 games on home ice Our big question daily is, are the Dallas Stars toast after a first place season in the West? Obviously not. Are the Vegas Golden Knights toast is the question for you tonight in Game 6.
My initial instinct is yes, they are. I think Dallas, that's my initial, but then I'm like, is Vegas going down at home this way, dropping 4 in a row? That would surprise me a little bit. But I think, what's the value on this right now? Where are we at? What's the -1? Oh, yeah, it hasn't moved. Actually, let me refresh it. I just got set back to my computer. It was -112.
Yeah, no, that's what it is.
Okay, so that has
slight,
that has,
favorite for Dallas.
Yeah, slight. It's basically a pick 'em. That number has not moved since this morning. So this is a tough one. I mean, I'm probably staying away from it, to be honest with you, with my own Coolbet account over here. Like I said, I like the Nashville game. Yeah, I'm torn on this one. I was leaning Dallas, but as I sit here and think about it, I mean, Vegas, we know they took the first 2. They're going to drop 4 in a row, including 1 at home, after losing 2 at home already to go out this way. I think we should probably give Vegas a little bit more respect than that, considering what they accomplished last year. But I just didn't like the fact, and I know they didn't lose the last game because of Aiden Hill, but I didn't like the fact that they went away from Thompson when he was their best player, I thought, even in those losses. So I'd lean Dallas here, but I am not confident about it in any way. Where are you guys at?
This is one, I mean, I kind of took a stand on the whole Stone LTIR stuff early on. I was dismayed when Vegas won the first 2 games in the series, and I thought that was when I still had fleeting hopes that the Jets might be there, and going, my God, got to play those guys again. But Dallas has just shown me so much in the last few games. Ottinger's stepped up big time, which you have to have in a situation like this. And let's not forget, he's been very good in the playoffs in the past too. I mean, he sort of burst onto the scene first and foremost in the playoffs with that performance against Calgary a few years back. They've got a lot of belief, but they are just playing so relentlessly. And I think maybe a little bit of doubt is slipping into the minds of Vegas. I mean, they put this team together. They haven't had a lot of time to really gel as a group with everything that Kelly McCrimmon's assembled. And listen, momentum is a thing, and Dallas has all of it right now going in and trying to avoid a 7th game. JBM, what are you feeling on this one?
Yeah, I think I'm with you guys on Dallas. I think I saw a stat the other day. I don't think Jake Ottinger's allowed a 3rd period goal yet in this series. 5 straight games without a 3rd period goal. So, if they're getting a couple early ones, if they can get out to a lead. I think Ottinger's the type of guy who can shut this team down. But the hockey fan inside me, it's similar to what I said about the Nashville series. More Game 7s, the better, right? Especially in this first round. I wouldn't be angry by any means if Vegas comes along to win this one. But I do lean Dallas as well in this spot.
Dusty, did you catch that Knicks, the Knicks Sixers end last night?
I caught a decent chunk of it, but I was hosting this draft last night, so I didn't get as much of it. I mean, I was following along on the app simply because I had the Knicks plus the 3.5. But yeah, that was nice. You had the Knicks money line, did you not? Did you not say that yesterday? And you cashed your NBA series parlay yesterday.
You know what's incredible? I made on the lock shop, if you recall, before the playoffs started, I had 2 3-game parlays or 3 series parlays. The Knicks, the Pacers, and OKC minus 2.5. And that one came through at just under 6-1. But the crazy thing is I had the Rangers and Carolina Hurricanes both in 5 games or less, minus 2.5 series spreads. And they were both at plus money. And the Leafs. And the Leafs are now back. And I'm staring at that plus 858.
Oh, boy.
Parlay, which is all riding on it. And listen, I think I'm going to ride with it. And I can't believe I'm going to be doing this, but cheering for the Leafs in that game. It's tough. I can only do it because I hate the Boston Bruins too so much.
They are my two most hated teams of all time. Like growing up a Habs fan, I despise those two teams. Ugh.
So with that game being, and this is just kind of a fun conversation to have, with that game, I guess Boston at minus 133. Plenty of hedge opportunities, if you want it. If you're at like a plus 858 or whatever, I think it was a $25 bet and it pays something like 264, 270, something like that. Man, I guess I could throw 133 down and, guarantee myself sort of about $100 win, but I'll be riding with it. I'll be riding with the Leafs. I do hope, I guess, but we should check the exclusives right now. Do we have a double game 7?
There's a bunch of exclusives up. I was just looking at it.
Oh, you bet we do, Huss. You bet we do.
Well, Jake, why don't you take us through
them, Jake?
NHL ones?
Yep.
So we do have ticket punching. Vancouver Canucks and Dallas Stars both to win. That's plus 335. But if you like the home teams, forcing 7, Predators and Golden Knights both to win at plus 270. Either way, if you're doing a 2-gamer on either of those combinations, best bet to do it in the exclusives as opposed to doing it yourself. But Jake, take us through them.
Yeah, no, I was gonna get there. It's a perfect time for it. So yeah, 4-7. Huss already mentioned it. Plus 270. Preds and Knights. We got the helping hands, the assist exclusive. JT Miller and Jason Robertson tonight, both to record an assist at plus 310. Ticket punching, like you mentioned, Huss, Canucks and Stars both to win, plus 335. Points from the point, a classic. I know people love this one. Obviously, it depends on who the players are, but went Hughes, Yossi, and Heiskanen tonight, plus 340. And then a couple goal scoring props. So I went Lamplighters, Forsberg, and Wyatt Johnson both to score at 5-1. And then Stars and Snipes, Besser and Eichel to score at 7-1. So I know those are usually popular ones as well for the folks. So a ton of options there in the NHL, and we don't have to go through all the other ones, but there's some cross-sport exclusives, some NLL stuff for tonight. Actually, I do want to touch on this since we're talking about NLL. We have an NLL free bet running this weekend. It ran last weekend as well. $10 free bet on any NLL bet. I think the minimum odds are like minus 200 or something like that. You literally just click into the NLL page, say you wanted to bet the Bandits tonight, and then it'll say free bet $10. You just apply that. You don't even have to put any of your own money down. If you're not familiar with the NLL, this might be a good way to get involved. It's semifinal weekend, so there's only 4 teams remaining. I know Patty would have killed me if I didn't mention that. So NLL free bet tonight. No opt-in required. So you literally just go into the NLL page. Super simple.
Oh, yeah.
Pick your bet. Say you like the over in the Rock game, and you just click the apply $10 free bet. You get $10 towards any bet you want. It'll also work for Sunday's game. So if you want to wait and see what happens after game 1, there's game 2s on Sunday. You can use it for there as well.
Yeah, just on that, Toronto Rock minus 152, playing the Buffalo Bandits plus 125. And the Albany Firewolves are plus 160 underdogs to the San Diego Seals. But I have it up there, and you're exactly right. Like, it's not even under your account. You just say, all right, yeah, I'd love a $10 free bet. And I think we got to, you know what? We got to go with the Rock here. We got to go with the home team. And I guess Patty, will Patty be doing those games, or he'll be doing the Toronto-Boston?
Patty, yeah, he'll be doing the east side, Toronto-Buffalo. So, yeah, I believe tonight, I think doubleheader, tonight and Friday, he'll be there.
The Hammer will be
tonight and Sunday, I should say.
That will be the.
I want to throw a quick shout out to. I love this play from Big Chaz in the nasty chat. Under 54.5 shots in the Nashville-Vancouver game tonight. No game's gone over 52. 4 of the 5 have gone under 50, and the number's 54.5. So I like that play from. I just don't know why all of a sudden they're going to have the most shots in the series tonight. Like I think that's a good find, Uke. I like that one, buddy. So I wanted to pass that along here too.
You know what?
ton of people on board with that one as well in the chat by the looks of it. So
Yeah.
I'm taking that right now.
Get it going.
Yeah.
I will admit, I will admit, I don't know if I've ever gotten that far down in the tabs. It's the last one.
I know.
Total
I had to
shots on
search
goal.
for it. I was like, where is this?
Oh, and don't forget, guys. We're back at the weekend, and that means the 20% multiplier. The 20%. Now, I'm not going to do it on this one here, but between the free $10 bet on the lacrosse, the 20% multiplier, everything else that's happening, we got some nice things going from the fellas over at Coolbet. Just before I roll, I will say one other exclusive that is fun for the weekend. Go Canada, Canucks to win, and Jamal Murray 24 or more points. And then the other one, I'll roll with this one for tonight because the Dallas Mavericks are a big favorite in this game. If you like Dallas to win, instead of betting the minus 112, head over to the daily exclusives and get on the Don't Mess with Texas, Mavs and Stars to win at plus 165.
Yeah, I like that one.
I mean, I think the
Mavs
are a lock for this.
This is the most Clippers thing of all time. Like, they're done.
Oh, yeah.
Luka is going to own them tonight. That one is done. I'm on the 8, which is the spread right now, but I love that one. That's a nice play too. I like that. How's what's coming up on Winnipeg Sports Talk, buddy?
Well, Bones up for the Coach of the Year. We'll talk about that. A little more followed from yesterday. Player interviews at the end of the season. Rowicki, Ken Weeb's going to jump on. We got the Goldeyes' new manager, and we will get ready for the Kentucky Derby. Kirk Contois, the announcer from Assiniboia Downs, came on with us last year, nailed the winner. I think he's had the winner in the 2 of the last 3. We always bring him on before the Derby starts. So he will join us a little later on. And here's another one for the first Saturday in May. Fierceness to win the Kentucky Derby. That's the favorite. And Canelo to beat Jamie Mugia plus 370. I think I'm going to go crazy on some exclusives right now coming out of the lock shop going in.
You know what I might add, too? I know people love this one. Maybe I'll add either game to go to overtime tonight since we got 2 games on the NHL schedule.
Yes.
I know people like to root for OT, so I might throw that one in there.
Either game to go to overtime?
Either game, yeah.
Okay,
so, yeah,
I like that one. And that'll be in the NHL exclusives? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'll get that in the exclusives. Yeah.
All right, that's good. All right, boys. Thanks for taking care of the first half of the show, boys. And, Huss, Winnipeg Sports Talk's coming up.
Yeah.
Game 7.
Hey, let's talk on Monday, Jake. Let's either way.
We'll see.
Hey,
Either way.
At Jake Bolin Moss on Twitter or X, as well as at Coolbet Canada. There's going to be some great videos. I love the excitement. Well, you know what I would say? I wish you luck. I'm wishing both of us luck. I somehow am invested in the Leafs, and this could be a huge comeback for me as well. So let's make it happen. Fellas, have a great weekend. Shout out to everybody in the nasty chat.
That's going to do it for the Lock Shop today. Oil Stream coming up here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Myself and Tommy from Terwilliger Rec Center. Hockey helps the homeless. Make sure you stick around that. Thank you very much for joining us in the Lock Shop today. Good luck tonight, and we'll talk to you on Monday.